I see so many familiar names in our chat box. We are so excited to have literally hundreds of people already on the line joining us here this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you are bundled up if you are local here in Texas and snuggled up on this, remainder of a snow day, ready to learn this morning. I am so thrilled to welcome everyone to our second annual Down Payment Assistance Expo. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Blaine Cower, and I have the tremendous privilege of leading the homeowner services team at Dallas Area Habitat for Humanity. I work alongside a phenomenal team of counselors who empower thousands of first-time buyers every single year to achieve the dream of homeownership. At Dallas Habitat, it is our mission to make homeownership something that everybody can afford. And really, in today's market with housing prices at near all-time highs, that may seem easier said than done. We understand that. But here's the good news. The programs that we are about to feature today, now more than ever, are helping to equip buyers with the funds that are needed to really make homeownership more accessible and more affordable as well. These down payment assistance programs can help you as a home buyer save thousands of dollars in the home purchase process and overcome the biggest obstacle that exists for most first-time buyers, which is saving for the upfront cost of homeownership, saving for a down payment and saving for closing costs. Today, we're showcasing a variety of phenomenal program partners that we work very closely with at Dallas Habitat. We're going to share how these programs work, who qualifies, and how much money is up for grabs. No matter where you want to put down roots, we promise you there is a program here for you today. Be sure to send us your questions throughout today's presentation. We want to hear from you. Send us your questions throughout in the chat box and also using the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. We will have a live Q&A at 12 o'clock, right at noon, where we're going to bring every one of our panelists back on live. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you stick around to the end so you can get all of your important questions answered about these phenomenal programs. We're also very pleased today to be able to offer live interpretation for those who wish to hear today's event in Spanish. To do so, please click the interpretation icon at the bottom of your screen and select Spanish as the language. Lastly, community events like today's simply cannot happen without the incredible support of our community partners. We are so grateful to today's event sponsors, including First Horizon Bank, Bank of America, and TSAHC, whose generous support has made today's event possible. So to kick things off today, without any further ado, I'd like to welcome one of Dallas Habitat's own, our incredible senior homeownership counselor, Aretha Higgins, who will share today an overview of the variety of ways that Dallas Habitat helps to make homeownership affordable. Welcome, Aretha.
Hi, Blaine. Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be here and to be able to present this information to you all. As a counselor, it gives me great joy to be able to let clients know, hey, you're mortgage ready. But you know what, it also gives me great pleasure to be able to tell them, hey, this is how you can get some extra money to help make this home more affordable. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into our presentation because there's lots of people behind me and we want to make sure you all get all this great information today. Be sure to have pen and paper ready and take notes. This is so very important. All right, so Dallas Habitat's Home Buyer Assistance. Let's jump into it. About Dallas Habitat. Dallas Habitat, we support our home buyers through many ways. First and foremost, home ownership counseling. You're going to get that one-on-one personalized coaching that's going to help you prepare for home ownership. We're HUD certified and we identify obstacles to home ownership. And everyone has a different path that they have to go down. So our goal as a home ownership counselor is to help you understand what the obstacles are and to develop an action plan so you can attain your financial goal, whether that's be a short-term goal to maybe save up money to buy a cash car. It's sometimes it doesn't even pertain to home ownership. So we can help you in multiple ways become financially savvy. And also, most importantly, we can help you become mortgage ready. Again, you're getting one-on-one personalized coaching. Also, we have home buyer education and financial education. When you meet with one of your counselors, they're going to drive into you. Education, education. That's the main goal at Dallas Habitat. We want to educate you because it doesn't make sense for us to put you into a home and you're not educated and know how to stay in that home. Okay, so our goal is to educate you, and education is open to anyone, anywhere. So you can be sitting on the beach in California and you can watch our education programs, okay? All resources are available online and most courses are offered at no cost. And first and foremost, we're an affordable home ownership program. Dallas Habitat builds approximately 30 homes a year, and those homes are available to anyone who can meet our qualification criteria. Affordable financing and down payment through that affordable financing and down payment assistance, Habitat homeowners maintain long-term housing affordability. Okay, affordability, that's what it's all about. Next screen, please. Who qualifies for Habitat's financial assistance? To qualify for Dallas Habitat's financial assistance, buyers you have to attend and complete home ownership counseling and become mortgage ready. Home ownership counseling is a prerequisite, okay, to our program. So there's no way of getting around the counseling piece. Mortgage ready, when we say mortgage ready, that means demonstrating that you have stable, sufficient income to be able to afford a home, okay? Either with Dallas Habitat or maybe on the open market. We're looking at your credit report. We're looking at your credit history, and your goal will be to have a credit score of 620 or higher. We're always striving for higher, okay? We're looking at your payment history, all of those things. And you also must have at least $3,000 saved for upfront costs and completion of pre-purchase education. What else qualifies for Habitat's financial assistance? You must earn less than 80% of the area median income. Okay, when we say 80% of the area median income, these are numbers that we get every year from HUD. Okay, Dallas Habitat does not come up with these numbers. These are HUD guidelines, and we receive these numbers every year. To be able to purchase with Dallas Habitat, you must be at or under 80%. But that does not mean that we cannot counsel you and make sure that you're ready to purchase. Okay, even if you have to buy on the open market, you still want to make sure that you're ready and that you have someone as like a home ownership counselor that's in your corner to assist you in this area. So don't let this stop you from getting counseling, because everyone needs pre-purchase counseling. There's a loan criteria, okay, that buyers must meet with our underwriting team, required for pre-approval, and be able to afford the available Habitat inventory. Okay, you can choose to buy a Dallas Habitat home. We would love for you to, okay? And also we know that that's the most affordable option. But some decide that they may want to buy on the open market, and that's okay. That's your choice, okay? And below, like I said, we have these 80% income, 80% AMI income limits. These are the income guidelines these are not the income guidelines for counseling. Again, we can counsel anyone, we can help you, okay? But you may not be able to purchase a Dallas Habitat home if you're over 80% of the area median income. Next slide, please. Types of financial assistance. For those who qualify, Dallas Habitat provides 0% interest rate mortgage on a 30-year fixed loan, okay? You're not gonna go anywhere else and get that, 0% interest, okay? We also provide up to $8,000 in down payment assistance, no additional financial down payment required, okay? In order to keep you from having to pay more money, we do require sweat equity, okay, where you build on your home, okay? Those classes and things that you take, all of that is part of sweat equity. So that's in lieu of the additional down payment. We also, like I said, in-house closing cost assistance. We have the ability to stack other approved funding sources. Some of those funds are available through the Federal Home Loan Bank, HELP, lift funds, so lots of other resources. So you get the $8,000 from down payment from Dallas Habitat. Our in-house mortgage lender, they're going to apply for other funds. Anything that's available that they can get extra money for you, they're going to do that, okay? We're trying to make this as affordable as possible for our clients. And on average, Dallas Habitat mortgage payments range anywhere from $850 a month to $1,100 a month. And that's including taxes and homeowners insurance. And a lot of you are paying more than that just renting right now. Next slide, please. Additional support. So did you know that Dallas Habitat can help connect you with DPA programs, even if you don't buy a Habitat home, okay? Our home ownership counselors are unbiased housing advocates for you. We work for you, okay? Our team is well-versed in all of the programs featured today. We partner with a lot of them. If there's something we don't understand, guess what? We have access to these people. We can reach out and get the information that you need. We can connect you with trusted, affordable loan products, home buying professionals, such as realtors, lenders, different assistance programs. Again, whether you choose to buy with Habitat or on the open market, we got you. Next slide, please. So some of the resources that we provide. We have a pre-screen tool for our counseling program. So how do you get to that pre-screen tool? You can just go to our website, okay? And you're gonna plug in all your information, and it's gonna help you determine if our program is a good fit for you at this time. To access the tool, visit our website, or you use the link that's shown here in the slide. And if for some reason you don't pass that pre-screen tool, no worries. Come to the classes. Then you're gonna know the steps that you need to take to be able to become mortgage ready, okay? We also offer home buyer and financial education. The website is there, but if you don't have that information, you can always reach out to your counselor. We're always sending you those email reminders. Hey, we have a class tonight. Okay, so if you're in the program, you signed up for it, or if you're not in the program, you can still reach out to us. We'll let you know when we have our next class if you're not able to find it on the website. We also have our digital library, which is PocketWise Cafe. The link is on the slide. PocketWise Cafe is a self-guided financial tool. It's Dallas Habitat's free online platform. It has a lot of financial classes and resources. And this platform is a great way to learn how to become financially savvy. Okay, so these are short 5 to 7 minute modules on just about anything that you would ever want to learn about. Down payment, how to obtain a loan, credit cards, anything dealing with finances and education, student loans, just all kinds of things. So be sure to check it out. And Dallas Habitat services and programs are digital first, and we are currently offering everything 100% online. Next slide. All right, so this is all that lovely information I wanted to share with you all. I'm excited to come back and do the question and answer session, but I am going to pass it back on to Blaine again to keep it rolling so everybody can get all this information to you.
Love it. Aretha, thank you so much. I see so many questions in the chat box, of course, about the Habitat program and how can I get started? How do I buy a Habitat house? So stay tuned, y'all. We will answer your questions, like Aretha said, your specific questions in the Q&A session at the very end of today's event. So as you heard Aretha talk about, Dallas Habitat, she's dropping gems here, y'all. Dallas Habitat can help you not just buy a Habitat house, but did you catch that? Habitat can help you also buy a house on the open market. So some of the programs that we're getting into talking about today that are non-Habitat programs, we still work very closely with these partners to be able to connect our buyers with these funds and with these programs. So our next presenter I'm so excited to welcome on is Daniel Garcia. Daniel's a longtime partner of the Habitat program, and he is a senior CRA loan officer and vice president at First Horizon Bank. Welcome, Daniel.
Hey, welcome, or thank you for having me on this morning. I'm so excited. Let me go ahead and pull my screen up. Just quickly, I'm just so passionate about what Dallas Habitat does and their mission. So I'm just really excited when are invited to do, such things like this, to talk about our programs and how we can help some of Dallas Habitat's clients as well. So our bank is pretty committed to assisting people attain affordable home ownership. And we show our commitment by developing several community lending products to help individuals to be able to attain home ownership and sustain it as well. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and get started on that. Okay, one second here. Okay, so some of the things that we offer, starting off with, is our grants. We have 2 in-house grants that we created to assist with those who may not have a lot of money to be able to get into home ownership. So we created a home buyer grant and then our first responder grant. Then we also created an in-house product, our First Horizon now, Home Start Mortgage. You probably hear us talking about Iberia, First Horizon. We've merged into First Horizon, so we were formerly Iberia. And then of course, we've got our secondary products that a lot of other banks offer as well that we can use these grants with, such as your Freddie Mac's Home Possible, and then there's Fannie Mae's Home Ready program. So talking about our home buyer grant, so we are offering up to $8,000 to any qualified individual purchasing in Collin, Dallas, or Denton counties. To utilize this grant, you do have to qualify for one of our 3 affordable lending mortgage products, and we'll talk about exactly what those are here shortly. Another thing is they're specific to people who make less than $71,200 per year. That's the 80% of the county's area median income. So you can either make less than that, or we take it a step further. You purchase a home that's in a low to moderate income census tract. Now, how do we determine that? The census tract data. So we actually use the ffiec.gov website, which is just the website that manages the census tract data, which breaks down specific areas that tells you whether if it's low income, moderate income, middle income, or upper income. If the property is in a low or moderate income census tract, then the income requirement would not have to be met. So you could make $80,000 and still qualify for this grant if you purchased in a low to moderate income census tract. If you make less than $71,200, then you're not restricted to a specific area. Our next program we have is our first responder grant. And this one is up to $10,000. Now, what I really love about this program is that we've kind of taken a different view on what we consider a first responder. So this particular program is pretty much the same as our homebuyer grant. It's available in Collin, down in Dallas and Denton counties. You do have to use one of our affordable lending products. You are income restricted to the $71,200, or if you make more than that, you purchase in a low to moderate income census tract. So it gives up to $10,000 to anyone whom we consider a first responder. So what I like about this program is when we think about first responders, we automatically think about EMT, firemen, police officers, individuals who work in those industries. But we take it a few steps further than that. So we open it up in what we consider first responders, educators, and medical healthcare workers. So basically, any active employee that works for a police department, sheriff department, correctional officer, fire departments, you could be eligible for this program. So let's say, for instance, you work for the police department, but you're just a dispatcher. You're not an actual police officer. You would qualify. When we talk about educators, active employees of state accredited local schools, state schools, county schools. So an individual who works as a janitor at one of our local school districts would qualify for this $10,000. For medical healthcare workers, active employees of hospitals, pharmacies, medical offices, dental offices, you could be a receptionist at one of these entities and still qualify for this $10,000 grant. So this is what I love about this program, is that we're not specific. What we consider a first responder is not what a traditional first responder is. We take it a step further. As long as you're an active employee of any of these entities, then you could potentially qualify for up to $10,000 in down payment assistance. So when talking about using these grants, these are the three programs that our bank, First Horizon Bank, has we do offer in order to use these programs. So our first one is our First Horizons Home Start Mortgage. This is a proprietary mortgage that we created. It's a portfolio loan that we keep in-house. What's great about this loan is that you could go up to 0 down on this particular mortgage if you purchase in an area that's not in one of those 3 census tracts, Collin County, Dallas County, or Denton County. You could still utilize some assistance by getting or taking advantage of our 0 down mortgage option. So that means there's 100% financing here, no down payment. The only thing you would be responsible for recovering are your closing costs. What's great about this program is that it's one of the same thing. You either low to moderate income, you make that $71,200 or less, or you purchase in a low to moderate income census tract. This particular program also does not have private mortgage insurance. So what that means is, in a typical mortgage lending environment, if you put less than 20% down, you're going to have a monthly payment that's included in your payment, a monthly fee called PMI or MI, which is private mortgage insurance. And this particular loan product, we decided not to charge you that and not to have that feature on your mortgage. So in other words, that'll save you another $100, $150 per month when you think about how much the private mortgage insurance actually costs. So it's another way of making this affordable to you. It is a fixed interest rate, and then we can also use this mortgage product with any other of the down payment assistance programs available in the market. And you'll hear about some of those programs that we can use later on today that we can use with this program. Now, to use the grant with this loan, we do have to structure it to where there's a 3% down payment, and then we can apply those grants to it. If you utilize the 0 down mortgage, then the most we could give on a grant would be about $1,000, which is still something, right? So the other programs that we offer, which are pretty much a lot of the other lenders offer as well, as our Fannie Mae's Home Ready product and Freddie Mac's Home Possible product. They're pretty much exactly the same programs. Some of the guidelines are a little bit different, one versus the other, but ultimately they're the same. So they require at least a 3% down payment. You have to be low to moderate income. So there is a website specific to each one of these entities, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, that you go through, you enter an address, and it'll tell you, if you meet the guidelines for a specific area. So you do have to be at that income level or less to qualify for either one of these programs. It does have reduced private mortgage insurance. Now, at First Horizon, we take it a step further. So you automatically, to qualify for one of these two programs, you automatically have to be at that income level or less, right? So we take it a step further. If you purchase in a low to moderate income census tract using one of these programs, we will cover the private mortgage insurance for you. So what that's called is lender paid private mortgage insurance. So in other words, it's essentially like you not having private mortgage insurance. So it's another way that First Horizon can make this an affordable loan for you. Interest rates are fixed on these, and they can be used with most other down payment assistance programs. So that's what we have to offer. I'm going to turn it back over to Blaine. Thank you guys for allowing us to present to you today.
Daniel, thank you so much. Those are phenomenal programs. Daniel, I have to tell you, you got a million questions in the chat. We're going to hold those questions, like we said earlier, for our Q&A session at the end, but we certainly see them all, and we appreciate you all putting those in the chat. We know that there are a lot of questions around specifically, based on my profession or my occupation, am I a good fit for some of these programs? So stay tuned. We'll get, dig a little bit more into those details. But as you learned from Daniel, these are phenomenal programs, and a key that he touched on that I want to reiterate. Some of the programs that we were talking about today can be utilized in conjunction with other programs that we're also featuring today. So keep that in mind. This is really designed to be able to help mobilize you into home ownership and and help you tap into these really important resources. Daniel, thank you so much for being here as always. I am so excited to welcome our next presenter now. Our next presenter will be here through audio. You won't see his face, but you will hear his voice and see his presentation. And that is Mr. Alejandro Rodriguez, community lending specialist with Bank of America, another one of our supporters for today's program and a phenomenal longtime partner of Dallas Habitat. Welcome, Alejandro.
Good morning to all. My name is Alejandro Rodriguez with Bank of America. I'm a mortgage lending officer. My NMLS number is 621644. And thank you very much, Blaine and team, everybody, for giving us the opportunity of speaking and presenting to you all today. As they mentioned earlier, cold day out there. Hopefully we're warm, we're comfortable in order to be able to soak up this information. So more than anything, thank you all for making the time. Education is king. By all means, soak all this information up. It certainly is good information to have. So thank you all again. But let's dive into it today. We're here to talk about down payment assistance, down payment assistance expo. So we'll be highlighting a few things that Bank of America has the ability of offering our clients to potentially help when purchasing a home. One of the things that I do want to start off with on the highlight level is what we call our Bank of America's Community Home Ownership Commitment. What this is, very specific commitment that we have. We set aside $15 billion, 15 billion with a B, in funds set aside to be able to help modest income and first-time home buyers become homeowners. We do this via a mix of different items. We have affordable mortgage programs, which give us the ability of moving forward with as little as 3% down. We have different types of programs. We have grant programs that give us the ability of helping with our down payment, that give us the ability of helping with our closing costs, which will be the highlight of today. We invest in resources, whether it's us creating educational content for our clients to be able to help them through the journey, or whether it's partnering in with organizations such as Habitat for Humanity to be able to educate our clients on what's needed to become a successful homeowner. And the other thing is, making expertise available, whether it's through one of us, whether it's through a counselor, through one of the organizations that we work with. We want to make resources available. So we have these $15 billion set aside specifically for us to be able to reach our goal of helping these individuals. It's pretty cool. We started this program. We're going actually into our 4th year this year. During the summertime, I think it's going to be our 4-year anniversary of having this commitment. We actually started back in 2019, I want to say, and we had a roughly $5 billion set aside for this commitment. And we blew through it. We blew through it in about a 2-year term. And I mean, that wasn't the end of it. I thought the funds were going to go away. We're not going to be able to help clients anymore. But they explained it better. It's a commitment in the sense that we're wanting to spend as much as that much money. So we spent the $5 billion. We made it into a $15 billion commitment. Even if we run out of that, even if we surpass that money, that mark, it's perfectly fine because it's just a commitment that we have for ourselves. So what we're going to do, again, is that we're going to focus on some of these programs that we've created specifically to be able to help the individuals. One of them will be our America's Home Grant Program, which gives us the ability of helping our clients with up to $7,500 in closing costs. $7,500 toward closing costs. The other one that we have exclusive to Bank of America as well is our down payment grant program, which gives us the ability of helping our clients with $10,000 up to $10,000 or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. So whenever we combine these two programs, which we do have the ability of doing, we can potentially help our clients with up to $17,500 toward closing. The other two things that we have as well are unique to Bank of America is our affordable loan solutions and our Freddie Mac Home Possible Mortgage, which give us the ability of giving a down payment as little as 3% down towards the purchase of the home. So again, the focus will be to deep dive into our grant programs. So if you all could help me go to the second page, please. We'll go ahead and start talking about our down payment grant. So the down payment grant, again, is part of our community homeownership commitment. It's an awesome program. And what this is specifically is that it gives us the ability of helping home buyers receive 3% of the purchase price or a maximum of $10,000, again, whichever is less. The program funds may be used toward down payment only. There is no cash back. So the highlight of this is 3%. Give you a quick example. We're purchasing a home valued at, making this number up, $200,000, 3%, that's $6,000. So even though we could go up to $10,000, it is going to be limited to the 3%. It is free money that we are helping our clients with. So because of the fact that we're in essence giving money to our clients towards the down payment, at the end of the year, the client will receive a 1099, which is something that you'll talk to your tax folks about because they may be counted as taxable income. Bank of America lending specialists will provide eligible borrowers with a letter of understanding that explains the terms and conditions of the program. So we're speaking about this today, about the program verbally. We'll talk about a lot of things verbally, but at the end of the day, to back up what we are stating, everything will be in writing. Once we move forward and before, we will provide documentation to our clients, which bullet points, line by line, goes over all the program requirements. Our down payment grant program is available for two specific Bank of America mortgage products. And those are the ones that we touched base on earlier, our affordable loan solutions and our home possible mortgage program. So our down payment grant is only available on those two programs, which are conventional loans. To be eligible for the down payment program, homebuyers must meet certain requirements that include qualifying income and the location of the property. Qualifying income is based upon the area median income. What we do is that we utilize 80% of the area median income. For the majority of the DFW, there's new numbers available already for the 2022 year. However, we have not updated, so we're still working on 2021. Currently, for 2021, the area median income is $89,000. So as I stated earlier, we have the ability of using 80% of the area median income for qualifying purposes. So it's very generous. That means that the majority of the applicants, and it's applicant income, not household income, that makes $71,200 or less will likely qualify when it comes to income-based review for the programs that we're reviewing. We still check credit, we still check other items, but the income threshold is very generous. The other thing that I mentioned is the location of the property. So if the property is located in the low to moderate income census tract, we actually have the ability of utilizing 150% of the area median income. That means that if the property is located in a low to moderate income census tract, we have the ability of going as high as $133,500 in applicant income in order for us to be able to qualify for these programs, which again, it's extremely generous. So it certainly is something worth looking into because of the fact that it'll ultimately mean less money out of your pocket when you purchase a home. For these programs, homebuyer education is required from a HUD-approved counseling agency. And who better than our partner today, Habitat for Humanity? They have the ability of helping with this as well. Connect with the counselor, connect with our partner. They should be able to help you with this. A lot of folks, when they go through the homebuyer education certificate requirement, they get it at the point that they're actually already in contract. And it's great information. You shouldn't look at it as a requirement. It is actually very, very great information where you have the ability of hearing from agents, you have the ability of helping from different folks in the industry, which will certainly help you throughout the journey of becoming a homeowner. Next page, please, and we could go to the third page, which is America's Home Grant Program. Again, part of our Bank of America Community Homeownership Commitment. What this program does is that it gives us the ability of helping home buyers with up to $7,500 toward non-recurring closing costs, including title insurance, recording fees, and in certain situations, discount points may be used to lower the interest rate. And that's awesome. The majority of the closing costs that I've seen, typically, let's say for a home, $200,000 to $300,000 in value, they generally come out to be about $6,000 or less, the closing cost. But Bank of America has $7,500 that we could help with. We don't have the ability of giving cash back, so we would not give you those $1,500 cash back. What we would do, however, is that we would utilize that money to purchase a lower interest rate. So we qualify for this program because of the fact that there's usually money left over on the closing costs. We'll use it to be able to purchase a lower interest rate. I see that the majority of the time, we would have the ability of helping with that. Now, the same thing a Bank of America loan lending specialist such as myself will give everything to you all in writing. We'll give you a cost estimate that shows the assistance. We'll give you a letter of understanding that spells out all the details. This program is a little bit different than the down payment grant in the sense that we have the ability of utilizing it with the majority of the first mortgage loans that the loan programs that we offer through Bank of America, whether it's our conventional loan, whether it's our FHA loan, whether it's our VA loan, it's available pretty much on all the spectrum that we offer. Same thing as our down payment grant. It is based upon income, and it is based upon property location. The good thing is that it's the exact same information, the exact same data that we're utilizing for qualifying. So again, 71,200 is typically the income threshold here in the DFW area. I stress that out, DFW area. And 133,500 is the property in the DFW area is located in the low to moderate income census tract. Now, although it's not required for the America's Home Grant to get a home buyer education certificate, it is highly recommended. Again, it's not the fact that it's a chore or anything, a checklist that you have to mark off. It's the information that you're getting. They're stating, hey, you should really get this information, this knowledge before you become a homeowner, because it'll certainly help you out in the long run. Next page, please. Down Payment Expo. So these programs that I mentioned, together, we have the ability of helping our clients with up to $17,500. So just to give you a real life example, the reality is that homes in our area have risen in value significantly, right? So I'm gonna use a value of 250, which is kind of average for a lot of folks that I'm helping nowadays. 250. So if somebody is purchasing a home valued at $250,000, they're going to need roughly around $16,000 to $18,000 at the time of closing if nobody is helping them. This is taking in consideration a 3% down payment and the fees, any escrow that's typically necessary. However, if we have the ability of helping with just one program, the America's Home Grant, the closing cost, then that reduces the amount significantly to around $10,000 to $11,000 out of your pocket on a $250,000 home. If we have the ability of using both programs, the down payment grant and the closing cost assistance, then we typically up to the $17,500 that we're helping with out of your pocket from $16,000 to $18,000, it reduces typically under $4,000. And what's nice is that I've helped several clients because of the earnest money that they give up front, because of the fees that we collect up front. Doesn't happen every single time, but there has been times that I've actually given cash back to clients at closing because of all the monies that the client provided and the assistance that they received through Bank of America. And even further, we're going to hear from some of our different panelists come in also talk about some of the down payment programs that they offer. So we do have the ability of combining it with other programs available out there through the city, through the county, which will make it even more affordable whenever we stack everything together. Of course, it's always going to be a matter of talking to a loan officer in order for us to deep dive into your situation and see specifically what we have the ability of offering. If you could help me, go to the next page, please, page 5. And that's where we come in. How do we have the ability of helping? How can we assist you? So ultimately, it's going to come down to connecting. There's a lot of information out here, but just like our loan counselors do at Habitat for, not loan counselors, homeowner counselors do at Habitat for Humanity, it is going to be a requirement to do a one-on-one situation in order for us to be able to see specifically where you're at and what we have the ability of helping with. So I do highly, highly recommend ask questions. We don't necessarily have to deep dive into anything, but if we do want to get serious, we do want to have the ability of knowing what Bank of America has the ability of offering for you all. Make sure that you connect with a loan officer in order for us to be able to review everything. We'll connect you to resources if necessary, and we'll deep dive into your situation. If you could go to the last page, please, page 6. So that's me. My apologies on not having the video capability with you all today. My name is Alejandro Rodriguez. I've been a loan officer with Bank of America for about 11 years. I grew up in the Oak Cliff area. So I put there that I've been about 20 years in the Oak Cliff community. But again, it's just a matter of connecting. I do want to thank you all. Knowledge is king. The best thing that you could do is get informed. So hopefully you soak up some of this information. Any additional questions, any additional information that we could help with, please reach out to us. My contact information is in front of you all. I greatly appreciate your time. Turning it back over to our partners at Habitat. Thank you very much.
That was phenomenal, Alejandro. I saw the chat blowing up during your presentation about $17,500. That is a lot of money. These are amazing programs, y'all. This is exactly why we are hosting today's event, is to help you all as prospective first-time buyers understand that, you know, this concept, this idea that we have to have 20% of purchase price saved for a down payment is antiquated, it's outdated, it is not applicable today. You saw what Alejandro just outlined, right? A moment ago. Think about that. You can get a loan product with some of our partner lenders, including Bank of America, for as low as 3% down, and then be able to stack that affordable loan product with some of these phenomenal grants that are also available, and some of the additional programs that we're going to talk about here shortly. So, you know, if you're thinking about home ownership and are worried, you know, I'm not sure if I have enough to be able to afford in today's market, this is why we're hosting today's event. Let's think about these programs, think about how you can get started and apply. We want to quickly remind everyone, we're seeing a lot of questions about this in the chat box, whether you all will get a copy of the presentations afterward. Yes, you will. We will be emailing out on Monday a copy of everything that we reviewed today. Like Aretha said at the beginning, make sure you're taking notes, right? And make sure that you're taking notes with questions that you may have for our Q&A panel at noon, so we can help get those addressed. But don't worry about getting too in the weeds. You will get copies of all of this on Monday. And this is being recorded as always. So you're always welcome to go back and rewatch portions for programs that you're most interested in. So our next partner that I'd like to welcome up here this morning is Ms. Tammy Southall, who is a housing project manager with the city of Dallas. Ms. Tammy this morning is here to share with us about Dallas's down payment assistance program, which is known as DHAP. Welcome, Ms. Tammy.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Blaine, for inviting us to this. We always look forward to participating in this event. Let me go ahead and share my screen. As Blaine mentioned, my name is Tammy Southall. I am with the City of Dallas Housing Department, and I'm here to bring you information on the Home Buyer Assistance Program for the City of Dallas, which is commonly known out in the community as DHAP. Okay, so a little bit of history about the program. The City of Dallas has actually provided homebuyer assistance to the community for over 30 years. We've increased availability for affordable housing opportunities and have helped supported neighborhood and community preservation and revitalization efforts. The purpose of this is to provide home ownership opportunities for low to moderate income families by assisting with down payment, closing costs, and principal reduction for home purchases in the City of Dallas, and to help stabilize neighborhoods. Some of the requirements for the applicant: you must be a U.S. citizen, a permanent resident, or eligible immigration status with a valid Social Security card. Household projected annual income must be 120% or below the area median family income. Income determination includes acceptable income and assets, and eligibility is valid for 6 months from the date of income determination. Household income is capped at 80% of the area median income for federal funding that we use. And then household incomes between 80% and 120% for targeted occupations, to include teachers, librarian services, healthcare, technical and support staff, protective services to include firefighters and law enforcement. Applicants employed must have at least a continuous employment history for the past 6 months. And then self-employed applicants must provide a previous 2 years of tax returns. The chart below illustrates the household income requirements for each family. So earlier, I saw some questions about what's the income for the 80%. Here's your chart right here. Okay, additional requirements. The applicant has to live in the property as their primary resident. They have to qualify for a 30-year amortizing fixed rate mortgage from a program approved mortgage lender. And then credit must be acceptable with no high cost loans, subprime loans, adjustable rate mortgages, or interest only loans. Lenders must establish an escrow account for taxes and insurance, and the applicant must take a home buyer counseling course within 12 months of the application. You can take it in person or online, but the course provider must be HUD certified. And then you're also required to make a minimum initial cash investment of $1,000 toward the purchase of the home. And then you must have at least 2 months reserves in liquid assets after closing. And liquid reserves being whatever your monthly mortgage is determined by your mortgage lender. You have at least 2 months of that amount saved in liquid assets after closing. Now we'll talk a little bit about the property requirements. Again, the purchased property must be located within the city limits of Dallas. You can verify this information by entering a property address at the link, and we have this link available on our website. And the property search system will provide the city council district that covers that particular property. Property sales price may not exceed the home maximum sales values. So for existing properties, which someone has a current owner and they're selling it, it cannot exceed $246,000. New construction cannot exceed $253,000, and the property must appraise for at least 100% of the sales price. We do not allow you to pay above the appraised value of the property. The properties can be a single family detached structure, condominium unit, a townhouse, or a 1 to 4 unit development. And if the property may be occupied by the owner or the borrower, but if it is tenant occupied, that owner must not enter into a sales contract for a period of at least 60 days after the tenant vacates the property. Additional property requirements, again, the property must meet the City of Dallas minimum housing standards, including lead-based paint regulations at time of closing. The inspections should occur during the option period of the contract. We will send out a city inspector to go out and inspect their unit for minimum housing standards. If there are repairs that are deemed needed prior to closing, those repairs must be completed prior to closing. The borrower will sign a notification to watch out for lead-based paint poisoning, and you'll receive from us a copy of the Protect Your Family from Lead-Based Paint in the Home. And then the borrower has to deliver to the seller a notice to real property owner form. HUD real estate owned properties, or REOs, that are built after January 1st of 1978 are eligible for DHAP subsidy. The HUD homes must meet all DHAP guidelines, and any required repairs must be completed prior to the DHAP loan file being submitted. Now, one thing with HUD homes, HUD REO homes, they do not allow for repairs to be done prior to closing, whereas with this program, any repairs deemed needed have to be done before closing. So if you are looking at a HUD REO property, it's going to have to be one that's in really great condition where there are going to be no repairs required. And then FHA 203K loans are not eligible for DHAP funding. A little bit about the funding that we provide. So the maximum assistance available will not exceed in high opportunity areas. And those are areas within the city where the poverty rates are 20% or below. If the purchased property is deemed in a high opportunity area, that home buyer can, you can possibly receive assistance of up to $60,000. Anywhere else within the City of Dallas, it's up to $40,000 in assistance. For the targeted occupation applicants, our teachers, our healthcare professionals, first responders, the maximum amount of assistance is up to $45,000. The actual amount of assistance is based on need as determined by the approved mortgage loan and closing costs. A preliminary closing disclosure is required with an estimate of all closing costs to include lender and title fees, prepaids, escrows, and any applicable credits. So once we receive this, the City of Dallas will actually determine the amount of assistance to be provided. So when we're looking at to determine the actual amount of assistance to be provided, the primary loan must meet the following debt to income ratio. First ratio is our housing expense to income ratio. That's your monthly mortgage. That monthly mortgage cannot exceed 32% of your monthly gross income. Then we have the total debt to income ratio, known as the BAC ratio, which is your housing expense plus any other monthly debts that you have. Those combined cannot exceed 45% of your monthly gross income. So with that being said, not all buyers will always qualify for the assistance. Our assistance is considered a deferred forgivable interest-free loan with forgiveness occurring annually with the residency term of the loan, or as the affordability period, known as the affordability period. Partial repayment is due upon sale, lease, or lease with option to purchase, transfer, or any disposition of the property, including contracts for sale of the property. Assistance under $15,000 will have a 5-year affordability period. Between $15,000 and $40,000 has a 10-year affordability period, and assistance exceeding $40,000 will have a 15-year affordability period. Again, the assistance is prorated on an annual basis based on the affordability period from the amount that you're receiving. Homebuyers are also required to sign a homebuyer written agreement for the assistance. This agreement will outline the actual amount of assistance that you're providing and all the requirements needed to receive the funding. And the funding, which is a loan, is secured as a second lien on the property. Funding will be provided at closing at an approved title company. And the source of funding that is provided, we use federal funds, which include Home Investment Partnership Program, Community Development Block Grant Program. And then we also use general funds to fund our targeted occupations program. Subsidies are subject to fund availability on a first-time, first-served basis. Acceptance of an application is in no way constitutes a commitment or obligation on the part of the City of Dallas. No commitment is made or implied until the City of Dallas has approved funding for each application. And due to funding limitations, no applicant should assume any commitment, even when an applicant must expend personal funds to meet application requirements. So for information on how to apply, again, with this program, pre-qualification for DHAP is required. You can visit our website at www.dallascityhall.com/DHAP, or give us a call at 214-670-3644 for further information. So thank you again for your attention, and Elaine, thank you. I'm throwing it back to you.
Phenomenal information, Ms. Tammy. As always, we have a ton of interest in the DHAP program in the chat box. Lots of questions for you, many of which we're going to get to in the live Q&A session that we have today at noon, when we bring Ms. Tammy and all of our panelists back on to join us and dig deeper into some of these questions that you all have. We know that you have questions about occupation. We know that you have questions about what the affordability periods mean, how that is structured. So we're going to dig into that. So stick with us until noon, and we promise we'll get that question answered for you. You know, what we love, of course, about the DHAP program is that they're doing phenomenal work in the city of Dallas. But we also know, working with our clients at Dallas Habitat, that sometimes clients are really interested in tapping into programs like this, but may not be looking at Dallas proper. If you're interested in purchasing a house potentially within Dallas County, but possibly not in the city of Dallas, then this next program may interest you. I'd like to welcome our partners at the Dallas County Home Loan Counseling Center. Ms. Regina Blackwell, housing counselor with Dallas County, is here on today's program, joining us today to talk about their down payment assistance program known as UPCAP. Good morning and welcome, Ms. Regina.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm excited about talking about our down payment assistance program, or UPCAP, as you may have heard it called. I don't see there we go. Thank you. Again, my name is Regina Blackwell, and I'm with the Dallas County Home Loan Counseling Center. I am a HUD certified counselor. We're going to talk about our upfront cost assistance program, or UPCAP. On our next slide, we're going to be talking about the program assistance amount. It can provide up to $7,500 for your down payment, your closing or prepaid costs to first-time home buyers. If you are wanting to get an application for that, you can call our office and you can pick one up, or we can mail one to you. You do have to be pre-qualified for a mortgage loan from a lender, which you can use a lender of your choice. We can also, when we send you the application, you must send that back to us fully filled out with all the documents, and it will have an application instruction sheet as well. So the applications, you can submit that even after attending our first-time homebuyers class, which we also provide all the education part of our programs. We do that all by Zoom at this time. You can find out our classes by calling our office or going on to dallascounty.org and looking at the times and dates of our webinars. Our next slide we'll talk about. There are eligible cities for our down payment assistance. Let's see, the slide is not quite, I don't see the bottom of it. Sorry. Okay. The eligible cities that we have that are participating in our down payment assistance, there's 12. Balk Springs, Cedar Hill, Cockrell Hill, Capel, Duncanville, Farmers Branch, Glen Heights, Hutchins, Lancaster, SAHC, Seagoville, and Wilmer. Now, Glen Heights is divided into Dallas County and Ellis County. So if you're looking at properties in Glen Heights, be sure that it is in the Dallas County side. The loans are available to first-time home buyers or someone who has not purchased a home in the past 3 years. There are exceptions if you're a single parent or a displaced homemaker, or if an individual, or if you're in a residence that cannot be brought up to code, you may be possibly in that exception category. Okay, our next slide. There are income limits for your gross annual income. So if you'll look at the chart, you can find the number of people in your residence, and that will determine your income amount. If you do figure that you're close or you're making more than you're allowed, don't count yourself out on that. Go ahead if you're close, because there are sometimes discounts for if you have children, if you have daycare expenses, or if you may have an elderly person in your home that's on disability. So those things may help you to get below or at the maximum annual income. And the family, they base the total number on the permanent residents in the home, whether they're family or friends. That's how they determine the permanent residents. Okay, next slide. There are property requirements. The maximum price for an existing home is $246,000 and $253,000 for new construction homes. Excuse me. The eligibility properties, new construction, existing, there are condominiums, townhomes, and one-unit duplexes. Now, the property that you choose cannot be in a flood zone. So if you are thinking it may be or not, you can go onto the FEMA maps and determine that. The properties do have to be vacated for 60 days prior to a sales contract. But if you are a tenant and you're wanting to purchase the home, then that's fine, if you're the tenant. The home price may not be more than the lender's appraisal value. And HUD homes are not eligible for our UPCAP program, and you'll find out why later, but we'll talk about that now. Just because the HUD homes require the repairs to be done prior to executing the contract. The UPCAP requires all the repairs to be done prior. So that would be the reason for that. Now, foreclosures and short sales, those will be determined. If that's the case, it will be a case-by-case basis on those. Okay, next slide. Property inspections, all properties must have a minimum property standard inspection from our inspectors list. Inspections made by other inspectors are not accepted. A track inspection and the minimum property standard inspection, and also a wood destroying insect report must all be done. All inspectors are required to make prior to closing. Real estate contracts must state that all lenders or inspector required repairs must be made prior to closing. Now, properties may be ineligible if there is major damage to your foundation, your roof, electrical, or plumbing. So if any of these are found to be exceeding, then that may be a denial for the UPCAP. Okay, next slide. The financing applicants, you must receive a pre-qualification letter from your mortgage lender, and once that has been done, you can request an application. You must have good credit history. We also provide a credit workshop by Zoom as well. And if you feel you need more help with your credit, then you can call and schedule a one-on-one counseling session with one of our counselors where we can help you analyze your report. And we do follow through with you to help you become mortgage ready. Also, subprime loans, sorry. ARM loans and owner finance contracts and interest-only loans are not eligible. Also, the lender's fees and charges cannot exceed $2,500. Okay, and our next slide. Your qualifications, all approved UPCAP clients, again, must have attended the 8-hour home buyer seminar. We have broken that down into 3 Zoom classes through the Dallas County Loan Center. All persons that are residing in the home will have to be included to determine the family size, and applicants on the mortgage loan must be included on the UPCAP application, and they must meet all the guidelines as well. And if you are separated but not divorced, they also must be included on the UPCAP application as a co-applicant. We are in Texas, we are community property, so that would be a requirement because of that. Income from all persons that's over 18 years of age that are in the household will be used to determine the income eligibility as well. So, and if you do have liquid assets, more than $7,000 at the time of the applicant, the grant will be reduced dollar for dollar, anything over the $7,000. Okay, next slide. You must be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. You will have to have proof of that for the UPCAP. No member of the household shall own any other real estate that can be used as a residential purpose, and that would include mobile homes that have a fixed foundation. Excuse me. And you must be able to contribute a minimum investment of at least $1,000 or 1% of the sale price, whichever is greater, into the purchase buying process. Now, your earnest money, your option fees, all of that will be credited to your down payment. Okay, next slide. Now, the occupancy requirements, the Dallas County will hold a second lien on the property for the $7,500 for the 5-year term. You must live on the property for 5 years as the sole residence or primary residence. If the buyer sells or leases out or transfers the title to the property to anyone else or is foreclosed upon, then the loan will become required due. Okay, so it's there for 5-year term. Next slide. During the 5-year residency period, the UPCAP, you may refinance, but only if it's for a better interest and term. Home equity loans, cash out, cash back, refinancing loans are not allowed. And if that happens, then your loan may become a repayment of the loan. Okay, next slide. Okay, and we do provide all the education for our down payment assistance. We have the financial literacy class as well that talks about budgeting and money management. We also have the credit workshop. If you feel your credit is not what it should be, we help you become mortgage ready. We're here to help you get your finances in order for you to be able to become a homeowner. So if you are interested, just give us a call. You can go on our website again at dallascounty.org and let us know what we can do to help you, because we're here for that anytime if you have any questions. So I appreciate y'all listening and take advantage of these down payment assistance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Regina, for reviewing all the information about the Dallas County UPCAP program. That was wonderful. Keep those questions coming in the chat. We are making sure that we can answer what we can in real time, and anything that we know that we're going to have a discussion about, again, live Q&A will happen at noon. Really looking forward to bringing all the questions to our panelists at that time. So I am excited to welcome our next presenter, Ms. Nopon Austin. Ms. Nopon is with the City of Plano. She is here to talk about the City of Plano's Down Payment Assistance Program and what they're doing in their municipality to advance affordable homeownership. Welcome and good morning, Nopon.
Good morning, and my name is Nopon Austin, and I am a Senior Housing and Community Services Coordinator with the City of Plano. I am so glad to be here with you all today, and I truly appreciate the opportunity to share with you our first-time homebuyer education program. So let's get started. So, the goals of our program are to preserve existing affordable housing and expanding home ownership opportunity for low to moderate income families. And just like many other cities, our program is federally funded through Community Development Block Grant or CDBG and Home Investment Partnership Program. So, to be eligible for the program, the most important determination of your eligibility is household income. The applicant household income cannot be more than 80% of area median income set by HUD. For example, a family of four, your household income cannot be more than $71,200 per year. for one person household, you cannot make more than $49,850 per year. This maximum income limit is updated annually and typically being updated in June or July each year. Keep in mind, household income includes everyone living in the house, related and unrelated. We do not have minimum income limits. However, our program is meant for applicants who can afford monthly mortgage payment but lacking funding for the required down payments. So in addition to income limits, to be eligible for our program, the applicant must also meet other program eligibility criteria, including you must be a first-time home buyer, meaning that you cannot own a home in the past 3 years. You cannot have more than $36,000 liquid cash in your bank account. So 401k and retirement are not included. You and your spouse must have a minimum credit score of 620. Any judgment or collection must be paid off. All applicants must be living in the home as a primary resident. No co-signer is allowed. To ensure that your new home is affordable to you, the monthly mortgage payment and debt to income ratio must meet our program requirements. For example, if your credit score is below 700, your housing payment cannot be more than 31% of your gross income. But if your credit score is more than 700, then the maximum housing payment can be up to 36%. My processing time upon receiving your complete application is about 2 weeks. However, if you submit incomplete application, the process will last much longer. So, once you determine to be eligible for our program, the home that you are buying must also be located within the city of Plano. It can be anywhere as long as the property address is Plano, Texas. So the maximum purchase price $285,000. The home must be in good repair condition, meaning that fixer-upper is not eligible, vacant and owner occupied only. Rental property is not eligible. So if you are looking at the house and you walk into the home and you see that someone living in it, the first question that you're gonna need to ask your realtor is this a tenants living in the house or the homeowner? Okay, because if the home is rented and living by the tenants, the home is no longer eligible for our program. The house must have a smoke detector. Home inspection is required, which means you have to pay someone to inspect the house. And the city also will inspect the house to ensure compliance. Now, if you are eligible, you would have 2 down payment options to choose from. Option number 1, CDBG funds up to $10,000, or option number 2, home funds up to $55,000. With CDBG funds is a little bit tricky on this one. We require that the home buyer will need to contribute at least half of the down payment required by lender. So for example, if you're getting an FHA loan, the minimum required down payment for FHA loan is 3.5% of purchase price. We're gonna ask that you contribute half of that, or about 1.75% of purchase price. The city will provide a maximum of $10,000 toward the down payment and closing costs with the CDBG option. So regardless of which option you choose, number 1 or number 2, you are required to contribute at a minimum of $1,000 toward this purchase. So the way it works is that if you go with the CDBG funding option, the city will put liens on the property for 5 years, thinking of it as you borrow the money from us. But instead of repaying us with cash, you are paying us by living in your house as your primary resident for 5 years. So in this example, if we give you $10,000 toward down payment and closing costs, I will divide it by 5 years or 60 months. That is about $167 per month. So every month that you're living in the house, we will forgive $167 to, we will credit that toward your loan. your $10,000 loan. So with this example, let's say if you decided you're gonna move out after 2.5 years, then you will owe us the money $5,000. But if you live in the house, if you live in the house for 5 years, then you owe us nothing. Did I say it wrong? I meant to say that if you move out at 2.5 years, then you owe us five grand. So, okay. Let's moving on. Now, option number 2, this one will give you, we can provide up to $55,000 toward your down payment and closing costs. That's a lot of money. So this option comes with the share equity agreement. With this option, we will put a lien on the property for 30 years, just like a mortgage company. So if you borrow the money from the bank, they will put the lien on the property for 30 years if you get a 30-year mortgage. So, if you live in the house as your primary home for 15 years, the money that we give you will be forgiven. Let's say you get $55,000, the entire $55,000 will be forgiven. However, the share equity remain for 30 years, and I'm gonna also talking about the share equity in a little bit. But if you end up living in the house for more than 30 years, the share equity and the subsidy will be forgiven. So I'll give you a little bit of example, a lot of numbers here. So for example, if you purchased a home at $200,000, I use this number because it's easy to calculate. And at that time, let's say the city provided you $40,000 toward your down payment and closing costs. And let's say you are selling your house at $260,000 and have a total of closing costs at $20,000, $10,000 when you bought the house, and then $10,000 when you are selling. So in this example, if you sell the house before 15 years, you will owe us $48,000. Don't worry, you will have the money, because basically we're giving you 0% interest with the down payment. However, the share equity is calculated based on your equity gained. Okay, so now let's say if you decided you're gonna sell it at 15 years and 1 day, you will only have to pay us $8,000 back. So we will forgive you. We will forgive $40,000 that you borrow from us. So I'm hoping this kind of give you some idea. And let's moving on. So in order for you to be eligible up to receive up to $55,000, your household income must be at or below 60% area median income. And you can see in this table here, this is the maximum income limit for 1-person household, 2-person household, 3-person household. Okay, in this example, if you are a family of 3, you cannot make more than $53,400. And if you make, less than this amount, then you will receive $55,000. Now, let's say if your household income is more than 60%, but less than 80%. So I have the minimum income and maximum income here to be, you will receive $45,000. So this is kind of a range, income range. You will receive $45,000 from the city. Okay, so you can find more information about our program by visiting our website at plano.gov/903 right here. And our website always contains the most up-to-date information, including underwriting guidelines. We also offer a free home buyer education class monthly on the 3rd Saturday of each month via Zoom video call. Our class is about 4.5 hours. It's half a day, and I'm mainly focusing on how to improve your credit score and process of home buying. We are not a HUD-approved housing agency, so taking our class is meant just for satisfying our program requirement. However, it will not satisfy HUD, other program requirements, for a HUD-approved home buyer education. And thank you again for having me. And thank you. And that's it for my portion.
Thank you so much, Nopan. I saw a couple of notes in the chat about how our attendees really appreciate how you broke that down, especially on the income requirement for the various amounts that are available through the City of Plano's program. So thanks so much for that. Okay, so that concludes really our focus on city-specific programs during today's presentation. And now we're going to transition, to a different type of program that I think a lot of you, based on the chat and your questions that you've shot to us, are going to be extremely interested in. It is my pleasure to welcome our partner, Jill Droege, over at the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas. You might remember that name. Federal Home Loan Bank, also known as FHLB, offers a down payment assistance program known as the HELP program that you might remember Aretha with Dallas Habitat mentioned in our program earlier this morning about the various ways that Dallas Habitat supports our buyers. So I am excited to welcome Jill so she can share a little bit more about how her program works and who qualifies. Hi, Jill.
Hi, Blaine. Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday. Like Blaine said, my name is Jill Droege, and I'll be giving an overview of the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas and our HELP program. I actually recently became a first-time home buyer myself, so I know how stressful and exciting it is at the same time. And hopefully today we can decrease a little bit of the stress and increase more of the excitement. So let's get into it. So here we have the agenda. I'm going to talk about what the Federal Home Loan Bank is, and then I'll give an overview of our HELP program. I'll kind of touch on the funding process and then provide our website and contact information. So the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas and the Federal Home Loan Bank system was created in 1932 with a primary mission of providing low-cost funding to financial institutions who we refer to as our members. So there are currently 11 federal home loan banks. We operate independently from one another, and we each cover our own districts. So the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas covers a 5-state district of Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Texas. We are a cooperative wholesale bank. We are a government-sponsored enterprise, so we do not receive any taxpayer assistance. All of our programs, everything we offer comes from our own income. So all of these programs that we offer are in partnership with and in support of our member institutions, which include banks, credit unions, and those typical financial institutions. So moving right into the Homebuyer Equity Leverage Partnership, or HELP. Basically, the HELP program provides down payment closing cost assistance for low-income individuals and families. All of our grants are provided through our member institutions. So the grant amount available per home is $6,000 if the member institution is not originating the mortgage. So if you're getting your mortgage through Habitat or through another organization, $6,000 is what we can offer for those. But one of our members does still have to sign off and submit the request in those cases as well. But I know Habitat's got partnerships with our members, so that's no problem at all. They're used to using our program and have been a good partner for a lot of years. But if one of our members is originating your loan, we can provide up to $11,000 for down payment assistance. Grant funds are available for home buyers anywhere in the country. We don't have any limits there. So, if you are around Dallas or outside of Dallas, or maybe you're moving to another state, we can still help you out there. Funding opens on the first business day of the year and is provided on a first come, first served basis, basically until funds are exhausted. So we have plenty of funding available right now. We anticipate having funding available at the very least for the next few months. So you can always check our website or call us if you're worried about what funding we might have available. So we have four main eligibility requirements. You might have recognized some of these from some of the other programs. There's a common theme going here, but we do require it to be a first-time home buyer. And we do have, I believe, 6 criteria for what qualifies as a first-time home buyer. So as long as the household qualifies by one of those criteria, then they are eligible for our program. Next, must be at or below 80% of the area median income. Just like Habitat, just like some of these other programs, we do use the HUD limits, which does change per county typically. So you can always pull those directly from the HUD website. Habitat can help you find those. We can help you find those. Those limits are readily available. Third, the home buyer must contribute at least $500. So if that's a $500 down payment on your behalf or a deposit, paying for an appraisal, just $500 and you are eligible for our program. And then lastly, must complete a home buyer counseling course, which can absolutely be through Habitat. You heard them talk earlier today. They've got their own home buyer counseling course and counselors that are ready to help you. So that can absolutely be through them. So here you'll see the required documents for a complete submission. We have a funding manual for our program, which can be found on our website. And then outside of the funding manual, we do require income documentation, a preliminary closing disclosure or loan estimate, and then a certificate or evidence of that home buyer counseling course. Then after the request is funded, we do require the final closing disclosure and a copy of our recorded deed restriction, which I'll talk about a little bit more in the next slide. But again, all of these documents would be submitted on your behalf, either by our member institution or coordinated with Habitat or whatever organization you're working with. So we just want home buyers to be aware of what we require and what would be submitted on your behalf, but you don't need to worry about submitting these documents to us. You got enough to worry about with buying your first home. So this is what's going on kind of in the background. Okay, so like I mentioned on the previous slide, we do have a 5-year deed restriction for those who receive our funds. So the home buyer may, and I use may very lightly, may have to pay back a portion of our grant funds, which that portion does decrease every month that the home buyer is in the home. And we do have several stipulations or scenarios where those funds repayable would be even more decreased or completely eliminated. It's really not our goal to get that money back. We want it to benefit you and your house, and we don't need it back. We don't want it back. So it's not something to be overly concerned about. It's just something to be aware of as a potential possibility. But we rarely see this happen. It's maybe once a year or so. So it's not something to worry about. But we do want to strongly encourage that if you do receive our funds, that you keep a copy of this document during those 5 years so that you could reference it back if needed. So a quick high-level overview of how our funding process works. As I've said a million times already, everything is submitted through our member institutions. It does take about 5 to 7 business days for us to review and process requests. And then once we can confirm that the application is eligible, then we would deposit those funds into our members' bank account with us to then be applied to the home purchase. So here we have our website, which is FHLB.com, as in federalhomeloanbank.com. From the main webpage, you'll see a community programs tab. And then in that drop down, you'll see Homebuyer Equity Leverage Partnership. So that will take you to the main help webpage. And then on that help webpage, you'll see at the very top, we list our available funds for the program. And we do update that every single Friday. So you'll always have a pretty accurate view of how much funding we have available. Also, about midway down the page, you'll see we have a list of participating members in the program, and there is contact information on there. It's broken down by our 5 states. So that's a really great resource. There might be a bank or credit union listed on there that you already have an account with. And so that can always be a really great place to start. And it's just a really great resource to check out. And then at the bottom of the help webpage, you'll see that funding manual that I've been referencing, income limits, and some other helpful resources as well. Okay. The last thing I have is our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to us. Anyone from our team works on this program and would be able to help you, as well as Habitat. Habitat's very familiar with our program, so if you want to reach out to them, and they will reach out to us if they're not sure on a question that you ask. But that's all I have, so I will turn it back to Blaine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jill. We love the Federal Home Loan Bank's HELP program, y'all, at Dallas Habitat. This is a phenomenal program. As Jill said, FHLB is willing to take any lien position. We'll talk about what that means here shortly in the Q&A session. But that's good news for you as a buyer.
Okay, come here. Oh, sorry.
Happen in multiple sources. So I'm excited to welcome on our last presenter of the day just before we get busy in our live Q&A session. Our next and our final speaker of the day is Ms. Stacy Lynn Schreiber. Stacy is branch manager and residential mortgage loan officer with Premier Nationwide Lending, and she is here to share about one of the amazing statewide programs that offers some phenomenal down payment assistance, and that is the TSAHC program. Welcome, Ms. Stacy. Excuse me. Hey, we can see you, Stacy. You're on mute.
I appreciate everybody. I'm excited to be here, and I don't know how I lucked out following all those folks because they were great. That was incredible information. So we will get started here. Let me make sure. All right. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm thrilled that this program, Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation, is a program that we utilize in our office all the time. And a couple of quick things. We definitely encourage and want some engagement as we, at the end of the program and so forth. So when you guys reach out via email, if you'll send me your home address, I'm going to send you some blue bonnets because everybody needs to plant blue bonnets in the spring. So we would love to be able to do that. A little bit about this program. Obviously, it needs to be a loan officer that administers it. You'll see a lot of, I know there's been a lot of chat about income and so forth. I have 2 people that are part of my team, Anthony Glenn and Kayleen Forward. And Anthony Glenn is a loan officer, and he may be able to answer your questions in the chat. So I'll have him do that. I always tell you, outside of mortgage, this is my daughter, Landry, and we're dog owners. So that's Camper. And I recently got married in November, and I married a loan officer. So we definitely like mortgage loans and helping everybody through the process. TSAHC, that I know it sounds funny, that's how they say their acronym, even though it's Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation. It is a 501c3, and their mission is to serve the housing needs of people in Texas. I know that the slide says low income, but I will tell you, specific to like the counties in the surrounding area, like Dallas, Collin, Denton, Ellis, Hunt, Coffin, Rockwell, for example, the income limit to qualify is $111,250. And then in Tarrant County, the income limit is $101,000. So that can be combined income, one person, we can back income out. So to me, it's not necessarily low income because that's pretty good income to be able to qualify for their program. The loans, these homebuyer programs are offered in 2 types of assistance, loans with down payment assistance, and then there's also a mortgage interest tax credit. We're going to be flying through this information, and is as entertaining as I think that I can be sometimes. I also know that this can be a little bit overwhelming. So again, We're going to kind of give you just some basic examples, but if you have questions, please reach out. So there are several options. This is the down payment assistance options, 3%, 4%, and 5% assistance. This assistance amount, I'm going to give you some basic math. I know that the loan amounts these days are going to be more than 100,000 in so many cases, but let's just use this for basic math. So if you use, it's 5% of the total loan amount. So in this example, 5% of 100,000 would be $5,000. The questions I always get is it $5,000 of, does it cover down payment? Yes, it does. Does it cover closing costs? Yes, it can. So it comes off your bottom line. So if you have enough for your down payment, but you don't have quite enough down payment and closing costs, then you can utilize this money towards that. You can also buy it at house and anywhere in Texas with this assistance. And again, it's a percentage of the loan amount. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer for this program at all. I do hear that a lot. I get calls every day, and the calls that I get are, hey, I need that first-time home buyer program. It don't have to be a first-time home buyer. I have been doing this for years and years, and I literally have some customers that have used the program multiple times. It can be used, as I said, cover down payment and or closing costs. Loans with down payment assistance, there's two options. The first option is a grant, and the grant can be utilized with FHA, VA, and USDA only. This is a true gift that never needs to be repaid. A grant is a true gift. So as a loan officer, we list it in the asset section, just as we would if you got a gift from grandma, the asset section, as we would list whatever money that you have. I encourage people to do their tax refund this time of year and put that money in savings. Again, a percentage of the down payment assistance is a percentage of the loan amount. They can do 3%, 4%, or 5% of the total loan amount. When we are doing a VA loan, that's 100% financing. It doesn't require a down payment. So typically we would only use 3% because you wouldn't need much more than that. And you want to get what you need, not, there's wants and needs. So that's one of the things that we talk about when we're advising you. Option two is a 3-year deferrable, forgivable second lien. After 3 years, the lien drops off. It's filed. It's 0% as an interest rate. It's amortized over 30 years. There's no payment, but it does drop off. It's a fully forgivable lien after 3 years. Concept is the same. It's a percentage of the loan amount, either 3%, 4%, or 5% assistance. And this is the program that we use when we do conventional loans. The conventional loan product, if we can qualify someone and get them into a conventional loan, that's what we try to do every single time. The mortgage insurance premium has an opportunity to drop off, and that's what we try to do, like I said, every time when possible. We love all the other loan types as well. Mortgage interest tax credits. A mortgage credit certificate, this is a standalone product. You don't have to combine it with the down payment assistance. It's a standalone product. And the reason why I say that so specifically is that we have customers that come to us that don't utilize down payment assistance, don't need down payment assistance. I recently did a loan for a firefighter, and the firefighter wanted a mortgage credit certificate, and he qualified for one, but he didn't utilize any down payment assistance. So it's a standalone product, or you can also combine it with down payment assistance. It's not that you have to know every single thing about these programs. It's that a plethora of people now that you listen to today that can guide you and know that you now have met people that know how to do it. So the mortgage credit certificate is a first-time homebuyer only program, unless you're a qualified veteran. First-time buyers, we will ask for 3 years tax returns so that we can make sure there's no mortgage interest deduction. This gives you an annual tax credit. You must occupy the home as a principal resident. And it does talk about reducing the overall debt to income ratio. I'm sure you've heard that a lot today. We calculate debt to income as your monthly obligated debt divided by your income, including the new mortgage payment. The Texas heroes, firefighters, teachers, police, there are several that fall in this category, their certificate is free. They wouldn't have to be charged for the certificate. So we're going to just do some quick math. And again, don't be concerned about the numbers or interest rate or whatever, because it's just for the purposes of math. But like on the mortgage credit certificate, it's about interest. So let's say the loan amount is 200,000, and let's say the interest rate in this example is 5.75. Like I said, this is kind of an old slide, but it just gives you the math example. So on the mortgage credit certificate, 200,000 times 5.75 is 11,500, and then 20% of that is $2,300, and that's what a tax credit, or the example of a tax credit, provides you. So the difference between a tax credit and a tax deduction is a tax credit is a reduction of tax liability or taxes owed, and then a tax deduction is a reduction of taxable income. So this is literally a tax credit. You would, utilize, if you were get this certificate, I would suggest that you utilize someone to assist you with your taxes. But it's an amazing program. You do have to have the tax liability to be able to take advantage of it, but it's definitely amazing. It allows you to take advantage of both forms of savings. Homeowners take tax deduction and a tax credit. So in this example, the remaining mortgage interest in the amount of $9,200 plus any property tax, et cetera, as a deduction. I hear this all the time. Is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to buy? It's always a good time to buy. Don't let the market and the scare tactics of rates are going up and all that stuff. I've been doing this a really, really long time. I've gone through several market changes in that time frame, and I can just tell you that it's always a good time to buy. And if you can utilize the multiple programs, or this program and the TSAHC program, it's an amazing opportunity to be able to do that. It also this just kind of gives you what the benefit of payroll income and tax withholding. This is our little, dollars. It's kind of fun. Annual tax liability, $10,000. You paid too much, so you get a refund. Just gives you an example. And then the $2,300 MCC goes in the bucket before the payroll deductions. There you go. There's your MCC. And the remaining tax liability is $7,700. So your payroll income tax withholding stayed the same. And as the slide shows you, it just kind of gives you an idea of the benefit of owning a home and having a mortgage credit certificate. It's a pretty amazing product. And borrow refund increased by $2,300. I just want to leave that there real quick. I feel like I'm talking really, really fast. It's your responsibility to claim the mortgage interest credit. You'll claim it on your federal income tax return. The credit cannot be greater than your income tax liability. Any unused credit can be carried forward up to 3 years. So if you don't have tax liability 1 year, you can still utilize it. That's kind of, you must meet the income purchase price requirements, any size family. This is down payment assistant only. And then when you are doing mortgage credit certificate with down payment assistant combined, it's based on family size. And there are some purchase limits when you're including the MCC with the DPA. And these limits above are for those particular counties. Now, one thing I will tell you about the down payment assistance, if you're just doing down payment assistance and a conventional loan purchase, there is no limit for that purchase price. So if you qualify and the purchase price is $400,000, you're buying in Collin County and you qualify for down payment assistance and that math all works out, then there's no limit to purchase. But when you're combining with the MCC, there is a limit there, and it just kind of gives you the idea. But I think it's very liberal. I think it's, a great opportunity. So how do you get approved? You can apply on with our company, or there are approved lenders on the TSAHC website as well. We ask people they can apply online. We have an online application link, so that gives you some information there. kind of a take-home buyer education course. You can go on the website and see if you're eligible. They have an eligibility quiz and a video on the TSAHC website, TSAHC.org. And it kind of gives you the information about approved lenders, but also gives you information on the education class itself. Gives you the online class. There is sometimes a cost. We like a framework as a class that we promote and that we send links for. We like the framework class a lot. And so we suggest people take that particular class, but we like the website because you can take the eligibility quiz. Also on the TSAHC website, you can find a participating realtor. Also as lenders, we work with participating realtors, and we refer when people come to us and they don't have a realtor. So we're happy to do that, but you can go on the website and find a participating realtor for this program. Well, I suggest you get pre-qualified first. That's something that we definitely suggest. And it just kind of gives you that. And this just kind of gives you, again, some further information. You can go to the TSAHC site, readytobuyatexashome.com. It's going to give you a lot of information about this program. That QR code there is going to give you some information and kind of a what we like to refer to as our contact tree. With TSAHC, in combination with TSAHC, I did a podcast for credit, and it's about a 30-minute podcast. You can listen to it while you go for a walk or whatnot. And we love that podcast because it just gives people a lot of information about credit. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Many of you, I've seen it in the chat, ongoing in the chat, y'all, many of you have different needs, different questions, literally hundreds and hundreds of loans, not one, none of them are the same as far as that goes. They're all very different. Everybody has kind of a different situation. So that is the end of that. I don't know how fast I talked, but I just feel like I talked really fast.
You did phenomenal, Stacey. You did a great job. No, this is quite honestly, it is a ton of information that we are going through today. And we do this not to make anyone feel overwhelmed, right? Of course, that's not our objective. Our objective is to give a high-level overview of all of these programs, right? So if you're here today and you're thinking like, geez, I just got a lot of information, I needed time to digest that. Don't worry, we totally understand that. Today's event really is about giving a preview of these programs, giving you exposure to these programs, bringing awareness about what's available for the various places that you may be looking to purchase your house.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me just add this one thing. And since I noticed how fast I flew through that. But one of the things I just want to share is that I was born in Dallas. I was raised in Arlington. My parents rented my childhood home for 19 years because they just didn't know what to do. And later in life, they ended up in a home and I helped them get that home. And my mom, who's about to turn 82 years old, is still living in that same house. And that's why we do the blue bonnets, is because she said, everybody I meet, I have to give them flowers. I'm like, how am I going to do that? So, but that's one of the things that I just want to share with everybody is that I honestly feel like that's how we ended up in this program. That's how we ended up in the line of work that we're in. So we wish everybody the very best on a Saturday, and we're just thankful that we got to be part of the program today.
Love that. Well, Stacey, we are thankful to have y'all as well. The feeling is mutual. We're a little early, and I will say, I just want to share with all of our attendees, if you registered and you were hoping to get info from the city of Mesquite, we just want to make you aware they had to cancel at the last minute this morning, unfortunately. We still will be sharing information about their program as a follow-up to the event, as well as all of our programs. We send that information out on Monday, so keep an eye out for that information. But as a result, we are a little early, so I'd love to welcome all of our panelists back up. Panelists, feel free to turn your cameras back on and unmute yourselves. And we're going to have a discussion about some of the questions that have come through. If you've submitted your questions in the chat, we have been keeping track of those, and we're going to get through as many as we can over the next few minutes. So we promise to make good use of everyone's time. So first, I want to kind of start at the very basic level. And Aretha, this might be a good question for us to pitch to you. And then panelists, of course, as you all have anything to add, please feel free to jump in. We got a lot of questions in the chat today throughout the various presentations when we talked about homebuyer education courses. In fact, we heard Nopan explain earlier with the City of Plano's program, while they do offer a homebuyer education program, it's not a HUD certified class. But we've heard on a lot of our programs that the HUD certified class is required. Aretha, can you talk a little bit about when is a good time to take that class and how folks can understand how where they need to go to get that class and get started?
Yes, thank you, Blaine. In regards to the homebuyer education class, this is an 8-hour class that is required by most lenders. In this class, you're meeting with a lot of the people that deal with the home buyer team. You're meeting with them, you're getting lots of information about first-time home ownership. First of all, you're learning, are you actually ready? Are you prepared to buy that home? And the things that you're gonna need, the whole process. You're going to meet the entire team of everybody you're going to possibly work with during the home buying process. At the end of that class, you're also going to get a certificate. This certificate, again, is required by most lenders. But it has to be a HUD certified agency, of which we are, and Dallas Habitat, we are a certified HUD housing counseling agency. So coming to that class is very important. And as far as when to come, with Dallas Habitat, we normally do not send our clients to that class until we know you are mortgage ready, you are ready to get in front of that lender, or either you've already been pre-qualified with a lender, okay? Because that certificate does expire. It's only good for 1 year. So that's the purpose. We don't want you to continue coming unless, like I said, unless you just want to. It's a good class to attend. But typically we do not send you to that class until we know that you are mortgage ready, that you're going to get pre-qualified by a mortgage lender with no issues. Okay.
Thank you so much, Aretha. Yeah, so we would say, big takeaway there, not all classes are created equal, right? So definitely make sure if you're just starting out on this journey, visit the HUD website, hud.gov. We can throw the link in the chat as well for that. If you're trying to connect with the HUD certified agency like Dallas Habitat or the Dallas County Home Loan Counseling Program, who is on our call today as well, Ms. Regina. All right, the next question that I'd love to pitch, we had a lot of questions on this topic. I'm sure our panelists are used to this question as well. This question really is primarily, I would say, for Tammy with the DHAP program, City of Dallas, Nopan, City of Plano, and Regina, also with Dallas County. The question is, with some of the purchase price maximums that are in place with our municipality programs, as can be expected, buyers are asking the question, right? That is it going to be possible for me to find a home price within that limit right now with the housing market that we're in? So I'd just like to pitch that to you all to see how you all support buyers who are looking to access properties within those limits.
Sure, I'll go first. Well, the City of Dallas is working with a number of nonprofit and for-profit builders who are building affordable housing. So if you can contact us, we are happy to provide you a list of those builders where you can contact them directly to see where they can tell you more about the product, where they're buying, their price points and all. The price points are actually set by HUD. They do change annually. But it's unfortunately, we don't have control over, but we are currently working with builders who are building to meet those price points.
Well, I'll go next. For the City of Plano, our maximum purchase price $285,000. It's not very, it is not It is doable for our area with that price range, but you need to get to work with a good realtor that will be working for you. And as soon as the home become available in the market, you can grab it right away. They are out there. It's not easy to find, and it's come and go very quickly. But we have successfully closed many loans with that price range. Like I said, it's not easy. On top of that, the city, like Tammy said, the pricing is set by HUD. The city actually have reached out to HUD and requesting our maximum purchase price to be increased. We don't know if that's going to be successful or not, but we at least try. So we have already starting our process with that. But at the end of the day, it's doable. It's not easy, and that's why you need to have a good realtors that are working with you and for you.
Thank you both. Ms. Regina, anything you'd like to add to that?
No, they've about covered all of it. We refer our clients to talk to their realtor, have a good realtor, and let them work for you and to shop around. I know it's hard, and like they said, they only update it annually, so get a good realtor.
I absolutely would like to echo that sentiment, and let's expound upon that a little bit as well. So, Dallas Habitat knows this to be true as well. When it comes to finding the members that are going to build out your real estate team as a buyer, it is incredibly important that you have individuals who are willing to do the work for you. Individuals much like the panelists that we have on today's call, right? So many of our panelists today are program partners of ours. Daniel, I'm looking at you, Alejandro, who's on the call today, are members of our preferred loan officer network, right? They have these products that meet the very specific needs of first-time buyers. In the same spirit of that, Dallas Habitat also offers a preferred realtor network. I know we have a ton of realtors on today's call. We've been sending you all some resources. If you're looking to plug in to Dallas Habitat's preferred realtor network, reach out to us. We'd love to work with you. But to our buyers, we want you to know it is really important that you're working with a real estate agent like the ones who are on today's call, who are willing to be educated on these programs and then willing to support you with these programs as well. So it really does come down to making sure that you have a home buying team that's willing to put in the work for you. One other thing I do want to add on this topic, Tammy mentioned that the city of Dallas works with affordable home builders. Dallas Habitat is a lot of things. We wear a lot of different hats, right? Today, we're really focusing on our programs, our homeownership counseling program, our homebuyer education program, our partner networks that we offer for our buyers. But what most people really know us for are building new houses. And that's an important part of Dallas Habitat's mission, is to build, affordable homes. And we operate primarily in Dallas County and Kaufman County. I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat today about Kaufman County. I'm interested in buying out there. Do these programs apply? Like we said, some of these programs, like Jill Droege presented earlier on FHLB, that is available with no geographic limitation, right? Stacy Lynn presented on TSAHC, that's statewide, right? So if you're in Texas, the answer is yes. Some of these programs are available to you. Certainly the programs that are offered by some of our partner lenders, Daniel, Alejandro, right? So yes, the answer is yes. Dallas Habitat does support with some open market inventory that we have as well. And so if you are working with a loan officer, you're already approved, maybe you're working with a realtor trying to shop the open market, and you're struggling to find affordable new construction inventory in this area, in the Dallas County or Kaufman County area, reach out to Habitat. We may be able to support in connecting you with that inventory as well. So lots of information today.
Say something?
Yes, ma'am.
So here, the other thing, and I just get this from reading the chat. I think what happens is that I experienced this. I'm sure that everyone else does too. You can't be your own expert. Like that. I think everybody's trying to be their own expert sometimes. Like their own expert in searching for a home. That's why a real estate agent has a license. Their own expert on how they're going to devise a loan, and you got to be you. That's why you have a loan officer. That's why we're licensed. And so that's everybody's situation. If I can't qualify someone, I'm going to give them the best possible advice because I have their best interest in mind. And it might be that I need to refer them to Daniel or Tammy or Nopon, and I love Nopon. I know her, and so it's just that I might ask them, have you checked these other programs, and so it weighs heavy on my heart when I see all these things in the chat where people feel discouraged, because I don't want them to feel discouraged, because there is a path. The whole reason we spent a Saturday doing this is we don't want a section of our society to be disenfranchised from the dream of home ownership, as we all nod our heads. I just want to say that. Don't be your own expert.
That's right. And we always, remind our buyers and our partners as well, there are so many people who do what they do incredibly well. You're looking at today, loan officers who are top in their field. You're looking at down payment assistance programs that mobilize hundreds or thousands of buyers into home ownership. And so remember that, we're here to serve you all and to help you all. And Stacey, I want to echo that sentiment. We are all about encouraging buyers. Do not count yourself out before you know if you're a good fit for these programs. There are so many different options. Like I said, today is just a preview. We are just scratching the surface. We really encourage you all follow up with our panelists who are here today to ask additional questions after today's event. Daniel, I want to pitch a question to you. I'm hoping you can speak on this a little bit. We got a lot of questions in the chat about the difference between a grant and a second lien, and understanding some of the affordability restrictions that come with something like a second lien. Would you be able to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so a grant is basically a gift. You don't have to pay it back. Second lien, for instance, like with the TSAHC program, if they've got the 3-year deferred lien, or even some of the housing programs. So it's an actual lien that is attached to the property, and there's what's called that period of affordability. So if you live in the home for that long, then it goes away. So it doesn't come due. But if you refinance or sell or anything before that period of affordability, then a portion of it or all of it comes due. It just depends on the entity that's providing the assistance. So when we're talking about eligibility when it comes to income and things of that nature, all of these programs have some type of income eligibility requirement. But what I would encourage you to do is to talk to an experienced loan officer, experienced professional about it, to determine the affordability of that particular program. Because, for instance, at our bank, our income guidelines are based off of application income. But if you go to the city of Dallas, theirs is based off of household income. So there's a difference. So I would highly recommend it. Don't try to get too much your head wrapped around, oh my God, I'm not going to qualify. What about this one? What about that one? Going back to where you work with a good real estate agent, get with a good loan officer as well that understands these programs, the ins and outs of it, because every program is different, and you might be surprised. You might qualify for something that you didn't think you could. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents on that.
That's wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much, Daniel. And I'll open it to our other panelists as well. Anyone else like to add anything on that?
Yes, I was just going to say too about our Dallas County UPCAP program, when he was saying, don't count yourself out, because the income could be adjusted for other things. If you feel you're over the income level of the occupants in the home, go ahead and fill the application out, send it in, let us review it and see what discounts you may get on your income. So all you can do is not, is send it in and let us see, because you just never know, like they said. And again, if you don't qualify, then we definitely refer our clients to other programs that best maybe fit them better, or have another opportunity.
Can I answer a question? There's a lot of questions about student loans in the chat. So, student loans and car payments, woo, I tell you, for young people these days. But I will tell you that on the student loans, we look at that. There's some student loans, first, FHA thankfully changed their rule on student loans. We're not having to hit in the ratio for 1%. We're now, it's only have to hit for 0.5%. That made a huge difference, a huge difference. The other thing is some of you qualify for income-based repayment plans on your student loans, and you just don't know it, and we certainly provide some guidance for that too. Don't, just because you have student loans, don't let that make you sit there. I don't qualify, because you may. So you need some guidance on that, depending on, what the student loans are or how much, or, and all that kind of stuff.
That's exactly right, Stacey. Thank you for jumping in there on that. And I will say, if you're nervous or unsure about your student loan debt and how it relates to your ability to qualify for a mortgage, Dallas Habitat would invite you to complete education in our program. We know that this is a big obstacle, or at minimum, a big perceived obstacle for first-time home buyers. Do not let that intimidate you. Come and join us. We do a lot of education on this subject, classes and workshops, and we've got resources as well, where we can help you understand really how loan officers, to Stacey's point, are calculating those student loans. It may seem like a big number, it may seem intimidating, you might think there's no way I'll ever be able to qualify, and that's not always the case. So do not, again, the theme today, do not rule yourself out. Don't count yourself out before you even take the first step and take a chance. Absolutely. I do want to ask another question as well. Alejandro, I'd love to pitch this to you specifically. I saw a lot of questions during your presentation earlier about the Bank of America programs, and how can buyers most easily access information on whether a subject property is located in an area that will allow them to purchase regardless of income? Is there a resource that we can share with our attendees today?
Yes, so certainly there's two things that we could do in that part, right? We do have a program directly through Bank of America, but I'm realistically going to pitch it back to real life situation, and that's working with a real estate agent. Why do all the work yourself when that's what a real estate agent does for you? So typically when that comes, I mean, realistically, that is the answer. To tell the real estate agent what you're interested in, what you're looking for, and have them do all the work. Now, you have the same resources as the real estate agent the majority of the time to look this information up. But we ourselves do actually have a site directly through Bank of America that'll give you the ability of going through and searching any property that's out there. Gives you the ability of knowing if it qualifies for the grant or doesn't qualify for the grant. It's available through Bank of America. Just really a matter of going in there and searching. The best thing that you could do is to pull it up. It's on the on my personal page, which will be passed down to you all. And you can also just Google it through Bank of America, and you should be able to pull up all the information that we need there. But the real estate agent really would be the best bet.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alejandro. I'd like to pitch this. Let's just pitch to the entire panel here, because I think that there's a lot to be said on this topic. But we've gotten a lot of questions today about how these programs can be utilized in conjunction with one another. And I'll kick us off. Like I said, Aretha talked a little bit about this earlier in the Habitat presentation, but a reminder that, through Dallas Habitat's homeownership program that Aretha presented on earlier today, Dallas Habitat can help connect our home buyers to additional sources of down payment assistance beyond the assistance that we provide ourselves. And that includes the Federal Home Loan Bank, right, that Jill presented on earlier, the HELP program. That's a great, $6,000. Again, that's easy, free assistance that we can help connect our buyers to, in addition to what we're already providing. That's one example of how buyers can quote unquote stack these funds. I'd love to hear from the panel, from you all, about programs that your programs that you offer and how they might be used in combination with some of the other ones that we heard about today.
I'll go first, I guess. So with the city's program, you are allowed to stack funds. It's a possibility that we may lower the amount that we provide, again, because the amount that we provide is based on need. So let's say, example, if you only need $20,000 total to close, and you're getting 10,000 from Bank of America, then we're going to provide you just the 10,000. So it just depends on the need. So it may or may not, we may or may not reduce the amount that you receive.
Well, for the city of Plano, you are also allowed to stack the fundings. However, the city of Plano lien has to be placed as a second lien on the property. So the first mortgage has to be the first, typically is the first lien, and then the city of Plano has to be the second lien, but we allow you to stack fund. So for our program, because we provide up to $55,000, and it is very likely that you will either get 45,000 or 55,000, and mainly because the housing price in our areas are very high, and our goal is to bring your housing payment down. So the more down payment we provided, the lower monthly payment that you have, and that meet the definition of affordable housing. Affordable housing doesn't mean the house has to be cheap. It's just that the monthly payment has to be within your budget. So.
Thank you, Nopan. Go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, I was just going to say that it's important to kind of going back, working with your team, working with a bank and a loan officer that understands how to stack these programs together. You heard that some of the programs do require certain lien positions and whatnot. Well, depending on the type of financing as well, will determine how it's applied to your loan as well. And you got to make sure that the bank itself has approved that program. So there's different approval processes and things like that. But understanding that you have several entities coming together and being able to navigate that program and that process, I think is very, very important. That not all loan officers and real estate agents really like to work with those because it can get complicated. But if you've got somebody that's done these before, who understands the ins and outs of it, I think that's going to be one of the best things you could possibly do in working with these programs.
I was just going to jump in. Sorry, Blaine.
No, go ahead, Jill.
I know you already mentioned our program can be stacked. We have no limits. We can take last position. I think that sometimes what we get is people can't believe how unrestricted our program is. We only have really kind of those four main things: first-time home buyer, $500 down payment, the 80% limit in the counseling course. We have no credit score requirements, no minimum, no maximum. We don't even look at credit scores. We don't get that information. It's really easy. Our program, we try to make it as easy as possible for home buyers, and no restrictions on price limits of homes. Again, it's available anywhere in the country, any county, any state. So we're definitely here. Any questions that people might have, I want to reiterate that it's really not very restrictive, at least from our viewpoint. And again, like, I bought a house recently, so I get how insane this is. So I'm definitely happy to help and provide any support that I can.
I think I want to add, I appreciate what Jill said. We try to make, going through the mortgage process, I think, and trying to apply for a loan and all that stuff, it should be simple. Like, if you're working with professionals, they should be able to take the stress level from here to here. We're not going to eliminate stress altogether. You're going to have anxiety, because if you're doing it for the first time, that part of it. And even if it's not your first time at our program, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. But one of the things that Tammy said that I really appreciated is there's the need and want. So when we're setting up and establishing a loan, like, we're not going to set it up where you get money back. Like, I think I would lose my job. I might be fired. So we're not. So you can stack stuff, but we're going to work on the math, where, maybe we, obviously eliminate what you have to bring to closing or zero it out, but we don't want to give you a 5% assisted program if you don't need 5%, of the loan amount. That's why I said that about VA, if you only need 3%. So that just I appreciate what Tammy said, because it made me think about that, because I think a lot of times people are well, I need that extra money to buy furniture. No, that's not what we're doing. And then I also get a lot of calls sometimes where people want to use the TSAHC grant fund program, or maybe other programs for like a second home purchase. I need to buy a lake property, and I need to buy one too. So, but this is strictly for primary resident purchases, so that I remind of that too, just primary resident, not investment but if you do buy that lake property, call me. So.
I love that. We had a question. This is a random question. Again, I'll pitch to the panel, but we did have actually several questions in the chat about, for these programs, do you specifically have to be purchasing a property, or can you utilize any of these programs for land purchase? So if any of our panelists would like to jump in and address that.
I will say that most of these programs are going to be specific to a property. It won't work on land. There's going to be specific guidelines, single family residence. I think they'll even go up to a 4-unit maybe, just depending on the entity that's providing the assistance. But most of it's going to have to be some type of property, primary residence type thing.
A mortgage is on real property. A mortgage is on a real property, a single family home, or, it can, that's what a mortgage is. So on land, that's a land loan or a lot loan is it's just a different loan than what we all do. You can do up to a 4-unit or a 4-plex, as long as you're going to be the primary occupant of one of them. And on our program, I'm sorry, I'm trying to speak for all y'all. I don't know.
Yes, and that's the same with Dallas Habitat. We don't build on your own personal land. It has to be our available inventory.
And it's the same with the city of Dallas.
And I do get a lot of questions. People go, well, okay, I have this land, now I want to build on it. Can we use the program? And that's a construction loan. And so again, these programs these aren't construction loans, because that's called interim financing. And then when they're finished with their construction, you take that, you'll hear these words called a takeout loan. A takeout loan is a mortgage after the home has been constructed, which is a refinance and not a purchase.
Yeah, and there's options available, like she just mentioned with the construction. Some banks do offer the construction to permanent, one-time close type thing, but it gets complicated. I would say stick with more of the stuff specific to first-time home buyers and things. And then later on, once you've got the process down and you understand it, maybe, jump into the other stuff, but just keep it simple as possible. If this is your first time purchasing a home, you start somewhere, then you work your way up.
I want to add one more thing about, and I just keep thinking about what Tammy was saying, and they're just triggering my brain. So we want to get people into homes, but we also want to present to an underwriter that you have some skin in the game, so that's important. That's why having savings or something, we don't want to present a loan to an underwriter and you don't have enough in your, I always say to people, do you have enough to make your first 2 payments? So keep that in mind. That's just kind of a rule of thumb. So just if we stack all this stuff, but you don't have, you want to not have overdrafts in your account. You want to have some of your own funds to represent for reserves. I just wanted to say that.
It's so important, right? So many of the programs that we heard about today, and that when you go back and go through some of these presentations, you'll see what those buyer contributions should be. And to Stacy's point, this is about, financial capability. None of us are looking to just help you get in this house. It's about helping you stay in this house, right? So we know that getting our keys and closing it may feel like the end of a process, and that's true in some respects, but it's really just the beginning, right? And now we've got to sustain and preserve homeownership long-term. We certainly believe that at Dallas Habitat, and that's why in the counseling that you would do with Aretha and Porfirio and Christian, our certified counselors, we focus very heavily, probably more so on savings than anything else. that we counsel through. You'll hear us say at Dallas Habitat over and over and over again, pay yourself first. Pay yourself first, all right? Before you pay any other bills, make sure you are allocating your money for saving. And this is why, is that even if you are accessing funds that are available through some of these amazing programs that we talked about today and down payment and closing cost assistance, chances are you'll still be required to contribute some amount of your funding and or have a certain amount left in what are called reserves, to what Stacy just described, right? To be able to make those first couple of payments after closing. And so we cannot stress that enough. I want to say, first of all, thank you to all of our fantastic presenters who have taken time out of their own schedules to join us here today and share information about these phenomenal programs that are available to buyers in our community. We thank each and every one of you who have made the time to join us today. And as we wrap up, I just want to encourage all of our attendees to take action. Don't let this time be for nothing today. You all have made the time to join us and learn, and now is the time to take the first step. Do not be intimidated or scared by that. So let's take action on the information that we've received today on all of these amazing programs. These programs, including the Habitat program, are designed to help buyers just like you. And so you're not alone. You have a bigger community here to support you and cheer you on every step of the way. And whether Habitat can assist you through one-on-one counseling in our program, through home buyer education, or even in buying a new house with us, we just encourage you, reach out and let's get started and let us help you take that first step. As a reminder, I want to let all of our attendees know you will receive follow-up information on today's event. You will receive information on all of the presentations that were shared today. And in just a moment, we will be showing a slide that's going to offer the contact information for all of our amazing panelists that are here today. That'll be up for a few minutes. So take a screenshot, take a picture of that slide, write down the contact information and reach out to these folks starting today, right after the event, to learn more. Thank you again for joining. We cannot wait to help you make 2022 the year that you become a homeowner. Thank you all so much and have a great weekend.